Greetings, I'm Caffeine Rage, and I'm back with the Sunday Sampler. This week we're going to be taking a quick look at Gunsmith. This is a manufacturing business management game, self-published by Seacorp Technologies, and as per usual, this is a review copy, and as you may see on the screen right now, this is also pre-alpha with version 0.0.0.23, and I am recording this on May 27th, and this is an early access game. So, Gunsmith, this is, well, a manufacturing game, like I just said, where you are running the family business that just happens to be illegal gun manufacturer and selling. Yeah, this is actually a fairly interesting twist on, I don't want to call it Factorio because that's too big a scale, but more big pharma. What was another one? There was a Zachtronics game that's sort of like this. This is more small scale factory building built around assembly lines. So let's just dive right into things. I'm just going to load up my save. Hopefully. Come on. There we go. My recording software has been fine in this game, but then again, it is also in early access, and it is a little iffy with it. I'm not going to bitch about it because it's an early access game, and it's also pre-alpha, at least according to this and the store page. But I do hope that the later releases are a little bit more stable. So let's just go ahead, drive right into the Sunday Sampler save that I have going. And I'm going to cut out the transition here because DxTory really doesn't like this transition, and OBS has been throwing some weird shit with this game. So I'll see you on the other side. Okay, and here we are. This is the manufacturing floor of my humble clothing company that just happens to manufacture all camouflage and combat ready apparel. You know, yeah, like Walmart in the Deep South, right? I am getting a little bit of a weird FPS hitching. It doesn't look like it's going to be apparent on the video, hopefully. So, once again, this game does not like my recording software one bit. So, this is a manufacturing management game where you are running an illegal, well, gun manufacturer eventually, but right now it's in clothing because research takes quite a while to get through, which is a bit of a negative on this. I'm still in the early stages of the game. Matter of fact, we go to the research screen, I could show you. I'm just starting to research the stuff to get guns, or actually bullets at this point. Gun manufacturer is all the way over here, and it's only handguns thus far. This is just the first version that's out in early access, so there's going to be a lot more, hopefully, assuming this game does, you know, progress down its roadmap, because that's always a risk with these games. But let's see. I'm researching that already. Okay, so let's just dive right down my checklist. Like I said, this is in early access, but it does hint at a larger overall story, which is interesting. Granted, if they're able to proceed with that, that'll be rather interesting, because a lot of these games are kind of just, throwing you at a puzzle or letting you try to manufacture something, and that's about it, and doesn't really try to tell a story. And with the impact that you're causing indirect deaths due to you selling, well, in this case, camouflage gear and body armor, essentially. There's a possible moral implication there that this game could address, but if they don't, it's not the end of the world. It's just they're hinting at something here. But as it stands right now, I have to say that the game is fairly easy. Right now I have 4 manufacturing lines going. This is the camo vests, This is the gloves, which is turned off right now because I saved me a little bit of money. This is, I believe this is the backpacks. Yes, this is. And camo pants. I have one more piece of apparel that I could be making. We'll do that during this so I can show you how this all kind of snaps together, because looking at this, it's rather intimidating, and at the offset it is, but it's actually fairly straightforward. If you've played Factorio, you pretty much already have the grasp of what's going on here with the various steps. It's just, you know, the way the game handles it directly. But as it stands right now, the game is actually kind of easy. You go in, you get an order, or fill an order, like right there. I could sell 160 combat backpacks and 220 combat trousers for $21,000. We'll take that order, immediately go over active orders, and fulfill it. And you can see I have hours to fill these contracts. Hour 56 minutes 58 seconds, hour 57, 2:23. So this is almost an idle game at this point, which is a little disappointing to me because I would want a little bit more meat on the bones. Matter of fact, let me just check my resources here. Down on backpacks due to that sale. So we'll turn on a couple of these. You're able to group all the assembly lines. This entire mass right here is just one assembly line, which unfortunately I forgot to set up the grouping on it, but that's actually fortuitous because I could show you how that works and also how it kind of all snaps together. So just hit all of these. Is that everything? It is. I wish that it was a little bit more apparent. That's probably my biggest gripe, is some of the hopefully placeholder art, like the green conveyor belts, can be sometimes a little bit tough to see items on them, especially whenever it's stuff like gloves, which I'll do in a moment. So that looks like it's everything. So power on. It kind of hitches for a moment as everything gets turned on. The dispensers start spitting out things, which you can see there. It goes into a cutter and then into a zipper. And on this, fasteners are being made, and they're going into a merger, which binds the fabric backpack with the fasteners. It gets some extra sewing done, and then gets shipped off to a boxing apparatus, boxing machine, and then sent down this slide to the racks. Pretty simple, actually. It's not a long assembly line, but it's deep enough that it's satisfying to me. But the reason why I call this an idle game almost is that there's no timescale options whatsoever. In order to pause, I have to open up the escape menu. There's no pause, there's no fast forward. So if you have an order that, let's see, I have one here, like 300 camo vests. Alright, well, camo vests are over here. You can see they're building at a fairly decent rate, but each one of these boxes is 20. So it's building up again, 5, 6, 7. So you can see, it's just almost, send in the background, let it run. Every so often pop in to pick up resources and make sales. Like I said, nearly an idle game at this point, which is not exactly what I wanted from this. I wanted a little bit of a tougher management game. And there are roots here of a tougher management game. For example, in the market. Like right now, fabric sheets are cheap, so we'll buy a few thousand of those. And you're able to maximize the amount of profit you get by playing the market, buying your resources when it's cheaper. But it's a little tough to watch the market while building your stuff, and there's no way to set alerts for this, or even your overall resources. You can see I have 4,100 fabric sheets right now. New orders have arrived, by the way. And 2,800 plastic blocks. Whenever you start to run low on resources, which by low I mean under 100, which for this factory, when it's going full tilt, like right now, I'm only running a few of my lines. I'm running at about, half capacity, 2/3 capacity, because the glove machine is turned off. We'll actually turn that on. Now, let's go into resources and watch the fabric sheets. It's dropping fairly quickly, and then pretty big chunks too. So setting it to under 100 is very, very bad. I wish that there was a custom alert, or even set up a custom buy order. So, if fabric sheets drop below 4, for example, tell it to buy several thousand, that sort of thing. It's not a deal breaker, but there's a lot of little quality of life issues here that hopefully will get sorted out throughout early access. And a lack of timescale options is just ludicrous, especially in a manufacturing game like this. Granted, if you're trying to do something like Factorio, it makes a little bit more sense, but this isn't a survival game. And also, something else is that there's no events in the game just yet. I mean, the event system is there, but it's not populated yet. You get one event to get a few new buyers, these guys. But outside of that, you don't really get any events, at least in the 67 days I've been playing, which is about, actually, it's there. 3 hours, 26 minutes, and 29 seconds. So I've had no events outside of the initial meeting some new buyers, essentially. Which, speaking of the buyers, something else that is a little bit of an annoyance is the order system just in general. I mean, the fact that you have 3 hours, 22 minutes to get 120 trousers. But you see, your reputation is increased, which I'm assuming eventually gives me better contracts, because I have noticed that I don't get as many single contracts anymore. Matter of fact, we'll sell off some more of my trousers. And you can see the contracts are starting to get multiple items, but combat boots. I don't make combat boots. But if I turn that down, I get punished. And let's see if there's an example of it here. No. Of course not. But occasionally, as of right now, I'll get a contract that requires bullets as well. Well, in order to research bullets, I have to go through all of these, which is approximately 2 weeks worth of research, just to get the 9mm production up and running. And then, 45 caliber ACP, 22 caliber LR. It takes quite a while to get through these. One day a pop on each of these, I believe. Like, I could start research there. But it says 2 days left because I just started it. So you can see the problem with this. Even though it does have the offer open for hours, you only get so many orders available. Like right now, orders are full, so I can't see anymore unless I accept some and then sell some. So that's a problem, especially if I get bad luck and I get a lot of orders that are completely undoable for me. I'm just kind of going through and picking up some just to hopefully get some that I'm unable to do to show you, but it's not showing up, unfortunately. Like right there, I need to get another box of combat trousers done, which is just about done, actually. Right there, the box kind of plops out and goes down the slide into storage. There we go. And there we go. So it's not a huge problem, but the various scenarios, which I actually forgot to show you, to start off a new game, it's literally just the different win conditions. Right now, my win condition is get $100 million of wealth. I'm at $250,000, and I'm just now getting to the point where I'm comfortable, where I'm constantly making money. And the beginning of the game, it's turning on and off machines to really kind of maximize things and get a bankroll going, but then beyond that, it's not that bad. So yeah, it's once you get over the initial hump, it's not that bad, but it's become quite easy. I mean, I'm just kind of sitting here picking up contracts that I could do pretty much immediately. Like there's one for another combat trousers and combat gloves, which I have a ton of combat gloves actually. I should turn off this machine. So we don't waste the materials, and it also gets the 2628 if I turn this back on, 3100. So it saves money as well as resources, of course. It's good for the environment. Right there we go. We're not getting as many items for gloves anyway. In the beginning, I was getting gloves out the wazoo, which is why this glove machine is hugely complex for a low tier item. And it's also was a part of the original scenario. Part of this was already built. I could probably made this a lot smaller. I mean, you can see the back end of this I actually rebuilt to have the splitter in it to be able to maximize my outflow. So let's build a little bit and kind of just talk about things. So I have one piece of apparel I'm not making, which is combat boots. You can see the cookbook here shows you the overall way things are built. So this is actually a little bit different from the rest of the stuff. But we got the bolt extruder done. That's the research. The research alert is the same as the alert for low resources. I will say that the music in this game is adequate. I mean, it's not nothing to write home about, but this is definitely a podcast game, if anything. But yeah, the alert there is pretty much gives you an idea of what pops up whenever you're low resources. So let's bring up the cookbook again, and for combat boots, this gives you an overview of the assembly line. So you see it requires 2 fabric sheets that goes into a cutter to make the boot. It sews a bit, it puts a zipper on it, and it goes down to a merger. While on the other side of things, it takes plastic blocks, heats them, puts them through a forming machine to make a plastic fitting. Then it reheats it and makes a boot sole. The two are combined, they're sewed together, and they're spit out a boxing machine. So that's interesting. It gives you an idea of what's required for it. So because I could see it requires plastic fitting 1 and boot sole 1, but fabric 2, it gives me an idea that I could take this half and split it like I do over here to run a double, so I can make boots instead of boot, which sounding very Canadian right now. So let's just build this and have some fun with it. So the build menu's down here, and it starts off with, well, the start, which is dispensers. And I have one over here that I use as kind of whenever something falls off, which all these are actually physics objects on the conveyor belts. That's something I forgot to mention. You actually see it over... Oh, am I out of resources? Yes, I am. I'm out of fabric sheets. I didn't see the alert for that. So that's a good example of me not knowing that I'm having trouble with that. So, to the market. Fabric sheets. It's a good price. 10,000. And while we're here, 5,000. Make sure that's not a problem for at least a few minutes, because look at it go down. But you can see the pants here kind of bump into each other and then kind of re-straighten. They're all physics objects, which could be lead to some interesting things over here because of how the this requires 3 pieces of fabric. Occasionally, this thing spits out fabric on top of these and knocks them off to here. So I put these bins here to capture them. Does it occasionally? Not always, though, so it's weird. So anyway, that's what I was talking about with the fabric sheets. I mean, that's a good example of not even intending to do it. In fact, let's buy another 7,000. Fuck it, I got the money. Rose the price like crazy, but at least things will keep running. So I'm just checking resources real quick. So I got camo gloves. I could shut down the backpacks actually and save some money. Because I have 480. It's the trousers and the vests that are the slow ones right now. So back to what we were doing. I'll show you how this actually works. So it starts with fabric sheets and plastic blocks. So we need 3 of the dispensers to start with. As a matter of fact, we probably should do 5 because the fabric sheets, these take 2 seconds to make. This takes 1 second. So yeah, we're going to do 5 dispensers. And we're going to have it kind of spit out over here. But the game offers a absolute ton of space, so you don't have to kind of scrunch everything together. Matter of fact, you could buy even more space if you want to. But yeah, let's build it out this way. So, and probably my biggest pet peeve about the game is these crossbars. I wish that they would go transparent if you were looking through them like that. You know, kind of ghost image, so you're not getting stuff like this. So, actually, let's build it around the middle part, which is the merger. So, merging, we're going to put down 2 well, actually, let me make sure that this place over here works. So, into the line, you can see how this doesn't want to build, except for like right here. Maybe I'm not seeing an option to buy over here, which is very possible, or this buys the entire area, including over here. But, you know, this works. This is fine. So, into the line, drop it right there, and then a boxing machine, which is there, boxing, right there, and then level 1 sewing, which requires a belt. Actually, let's do another belt, and then a sewing machine right there. You can see the arrow of the direction things goes. Another small pet peeve is whenever you're picking up something, it has that glow effect, especially on these things. And on this, it's pretty apparent where the belt goes, but for stuff like the sewing machine, where you could see how the... Actually, it's the, yeah, the cutting machine. You can see how it's offset. If you're not used to that, and you try to line up in the center, you're going to have a bad time. So, sewing machine. And then the mergers, which will do belts. This isn't going to be efficient at all, but what the hell. There we go. And merger. Kind of radioactive there, huh? Oh, that's a little offset. Yeah, the game has a snap to grid, but it's not quite right. So there we go. Back to belts. 2. And we're going to work on the fitting part first, which requires 2 forming machines on these. So forming, no, forming, not forging. There and there. Go back to belt. Heaters. You could probably do this a little bit more efficiently, but yeah, what the hell. Forming. Matter of fact, we'll do the split after this, so we demolish one of those. And to the belts. No, it isn't. It's... where are you? You'd see I'm starting to get some of the new stuff. Splitter. There we go. There we go. I should probably... I'm not sure if that works just directly into it, but just to be safe. A heater. So this is quite the monstrosity already. Okay. And then just a dispenser. So that's one of the dispensers over here. Which we could just put it right there like that. And I'm not trying for any sort of compactness in this because it's just more showing how everything kind of snaps together and how satisfying it is, really. At least for someone like me, because for me, Factorio was a little much. And I realize saying that for this is a little laughable, but still. So, now let's work on the others. So, and we'll put it down on this side of things. So, oh, and I have those backwards. That would be, that would just be a mess. So, it works like that. And then a sewing machine. We'll go ahead and put down a second one over there somewhere, and we'll grab it in a bit. Belt. A cutter. And you can see what I meant by how it's not easy to see exactly what you're doing with that. So... belt, and we'll put down 2 belts, and then dispensers because we're at the end of things. So that's start of the line, a dispenser. Actually, we'll just put them up. Oh, like that. And we'll set up everything in just a moment. So, because everything's kind of unset right now. So, belt. The sewing machine I put over here. There we go. Another belt. We'll just put the same length just to make things a little bit symmetrical. Cutter. And I got that completely cockeyed. Belt, belt. Dispenser, dispenser. Okay. So, in theory, once this is all set, this should work. I think. So, this outputs plastic blocks, which outputs plastic fitting, which gets heated, which outputs boot sole, boot sole. These output combat boots. This outputs fabric sheet and a fabric sheet, which outputs a fabric boot, which gets sewn, goes into that. This also outputs fabric sheet, outputs fabric sheet, outputs fabric boot, which gets sewn, which gets a combat boot, which goes through, gets sewn again, goes through the boxing and down through, and thankfully that could be anywhere. And I have all sorts of extra dispensers that I didn't use because I was sitting here concentrating on talking out everything and not using resources wisely. But that doesn't matter, does it? Because we're at the point now where I can just do that, do that, do that, do that, and pretty much recouped everything I've made or lost on building this monstrosity. And then just line control so everything doesn't have to be set up in, or turned on in sequence. Add a station right there. You can do this, make some sort of pseudo control room over near your avatar over here who's tapping away on an imaginary computer. Guessing you can't afford one yet. Which, believe me, I know that feel. And like I showed you before, add, 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 add. This is going to cost 275 power, which we have plenty of right now. I don't think we could run everything full tilt without adding more power generation. So let's see how badly we did. Okay. Power on. Heats up. Goes into that. There's the fitting. It goes through the splitter. Gets... Oh, okay. I screwed up there because this requires 2, so I shouldn't have split this into 2 lines. So this will be slower than it should have been. But... Come on. Oh, I missed the zipper. Okay. Knew I was going to screw up something. So shut it down. Everything kind of just comes to a stop. Which thankfully... I'll just set that there. At least on this side, I offset everything enough to where I could put in the zipper. So that would work. Now this, on the other hand, has to go around. Like that. So power on. I'll just turn these on manually and add them to the thing. And we'll see how we did. Oh. And there goes the boots. And success. Oh. That wasn't added to the list, so. Hey, we got combat boots. So that's setting up a line and screwing up a line and quickly resorting it. Could probably, do something different with this, or use resource bins or recycling bins to kind of do a centralized forming of all the fittings. But yeah, that gives you a kind of an idea of the overview of things. I do like the game. It's just, I hope that they continue with their development, because right now there's not a lot there, and there's some severe quality of life issues. I mean, I would love to be able just to queue stuff up here, especially since it takes so long, and your attention is pulled away while building things. And also, okay, we're still at 11,000 fabric sheets because I went fucking nuts. But yeah, I'm down to 11,000. You can see the fabric boots, didn't work out all that well. So what I could always do is do that. Do that, because all the ones that screwed up are here. So I could go that and turn it on and output fabric boot and turn that on to increase the flow a bit. I mean, granted, the boot soles are still going to be the backup, backing up everything, but at least gets it out of my inventory into this. But yeah, that there's a lot of micromanagement that you could do. There's a lot of sitting down and sorting out how to compact things, because I'm rather proud of how my glove, or at least the ass end of my glove machine, or I guess that'd be the head and not the ass end, but how well this all snaps together, because I think that's rather impressive. Just how it all kind of just is in perfect balance, except for the fact that I have 21 fabric gloves in the queue there. But yeah, I think that is about it on this. This is off to a really good start, and I hope that they do well enough in the early access that they're able to continue development, because they did talk about how they need to have good sales in order to continue development, which is a red flag for recommending this game whole hog. So that. Like, oh, right there. There's bullets. He wants 100 bullets on top of the apparel. I can't do that. 2.5. Let's just call it 2.5 hours. No way I would get to research that. So I reject that, and my reputation goes down. That's probably my biggest irritation about this game. So yeah, I think that is about it. I'm not even sure if you can actually hear the music, because I do have it down, and it's pretty much just dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun. It's very sedate already. But honestly, it running in the background for a while I build up my money to be able to just, do things. it got a little old. Like right there, I need camo backpacks again. So that means to go over here and turn back on. Oh, I can't turn that on because my power situation. So just, oh, that was the turn off UI button. Turns out there's a button for that, by the way. So just shove some transformers on the wall and you can see my power resources going up. It doesn't consume any resources, or if this has any sort of upkeep, it's not apparent. So just, I just added a bunch of power so I can turn that back on and be able to make a lot more backpacks. So yeah, this is my little clothing shop. Sweatshop free. Hey, I'm not making iPhones here. What? So yeah, I think that is about it. This game has a lot of potential on it, and it kind of scratches the itch that I wanted Factorio to hit, but it was a little bit too big. And this has a bit of the business management in it as well, which I enjoy. So, there's a lot here, and I'm hoping that it continues its development very well. Oh, sometimes you can see how the boxes are kind of piling up because, actually, I don't know why sometimes it does that. I think it's some sort of tick thing. Whenever there's stuff on this, it'll try to grab it for a second or two, but you see how there's two boxes and they're kind of bumping and grinding. Well, one will get picked up here in a moment, most likely. But this is due to me spitting out two of these onto this area, so you can just grab it with the Hoover. But occasionally, if there's more than a few boxes active, like I have this perfectly synced up right now, it seems, it'll just kind of get confused. So, little bug here and there, but overall, not a bad start. I got that perfectly synced up, don't I? Let's see if that offsets things. So, yeah, I think we are done here for the day. As always, constructive feedback is greatly appreciated. Oh, my reputation went down, which means that I probably had a job offer that I missed, which is something else that, the offers don't last all that long. So, like, right there's one for 16 minutes. But it's also a very good contract, so we'll take that. But yeah, as always, constructive feedback is greatly appreciated, either in the comments below, or if you don't have anything to say but want to let me know that you've enjoyed or hated this, well, the appropriate buttons are there, and subscribe if you wish to see more of this or my other content. As yeah, this is somehow perfectly synced up. Oh, yay! They're unsynced. Well, it also, I had this one turned off for a bit. So that would do it, right? Yeah, it must be some sort of tick thing because these are slightly unsynced. But yeah, as always, constructive feedback greatly appreciated, either in the comments below, or if you don't really have anything to say but will let me know that you've enjoyed or even hated this. Well, the buttons are there, and subscribe if you see more of the Sunday Sampler or my other content, as I miss another job offer, but screw them. I'm making boots. Look, pairs of boots. Aren't they beautiful boots? They're beautiful combat boots. But then again, how can you see them? They're camouflage. Oh, yeah. I think we're done here. I'll see you with the next Sunday sampler. Oh, next time.